Welcome to Insight Builder channel. How to get the output you want from CrewAI agents and tasks. Part 8 of CrewAI series of videos. Extract YouTube video details using natural language and CrewAI agents. There are a lot of repetitive tasks that we do day in and day out. Agents have been a promising technology that has come up with the help of LLMs and the supporting tools for removing and relieving us of these repetitive tasks. So for an example, one of the tasks that I regularly do is to look at the various videos in a particular topic. Say for an example, you came across the concept of AI agents and you wanted to review it. You want to look at the various YouTube videos that you have that has been already posted. So what you do, you go to the browser and you start searching for it. Simple, right? You click on each of the videos and you view them step by step. A better option is that you get all the links in a single place and you just click on the links. You don't go to the browser at all. This is one of the things that I've been again and again saying. You don't need to go to the browser. The browser is going to be replaced with your IDE, that is Integrated Development Environment. In my case, the Integrated Development Environment I use is a Lunar Vim terminal. So it's a very simple, very lightweight and super fast terminal, right? And you see that I have the various links of the intro to AI agents and the channels and the links right there. I did not even go to the browser. Okay, so as you can see, it's very, very streamlined. You don't need to really use the browser anymore. This actually sounds very futuristic, because what will you do without the browser, right? Yeah. So this is something that I've been, insisting on one of my various other videos. You can take a look at the agentic IDEs and related Code Monkey videos that I have been updating on my playlist, and also the Executive New Age series of videos that I have been sharing regarding the Windsurf agentic IDE. You will be fascinated with the technology that is going on. So how to get the links, topics and the titles that I created? It's very simple. You have to know that agents and tasks are simply prompts, but prompted in a different way to the LLMs. And the important ingredient or the secret ingredient of getting all this outputs is two things. One is the tools, and the second is the Pydantic model. You might be from a background where you don't know anything about coding. It's okay. You don't need to know about these things. The point I want to make here is that there is a structure that I'm going to talk about. That structure you need to follow. Okay, let's see. The thing is, you need to know what kind of tools you can use with the LLMs. So for that, you need to first of all go to the CrewAI open source link. I'll be sharing this. And from there, if you click on pip install CrewAI, that will take you to the documentation. Okay. In the documentation, you can click on tools and it will show you the various tools that is available for CrewAI agents, tasks and flows. This is where you will have to find the tools. You don't need to actually know how these tools are going to work. That is the work of the agents and tasks. You don't need to know. Fine. Let's come back. Now, what is a Pydantic model? Pydantic model has a very simple syntax. Let me show you the syntax. Before showing the syntax, Pydantic model is a way to constrain and request. So it constrains the output and requests a particular kind of an output from the model. That is the purpose of the Pydantic model. So in last couple of minutes, we saw the secret ingredient of the agents and the tasks are the tools. And the second ingredient is the Pydantic model that constrains and requests the AI model for a particular kind of an output. So all these things are being coded inside the CrewAI framework, so you don't need to understand how these things are working. It's all done by the coding background. This is one of the challenges that you might actually come across. You, after doing everything right, you might still not get the output that you want. So what to do? First thing is check whether the Pydantic model is meeting your requirement. Second, check the expected output of the task. that expected output of the task that you have mentioned in the CrewAI is very, very important. Third, change the model used in the agent. I'll be showing all these things one by one. Finally, review whether the tools are being used. Sometimes you attach the tools to the agents and the tasks, but the tools are actually not called. There could be variety of reasons for this. I will be diving into that in the next couple of minutes. Then do not change your query in the crew kickoff. Don't do this, because that will put the entire experiment into a different direction, because you are changing the starting point or changing the query. You should not do that. Never add or change the tools once you start with a particular script. You have to work with the tools that you started with and ensure that all the above 4 points are happening. If the above 4 points are not properly happening, then changing the tools can happen after that, after you tick off all of these points. Fine. Now this is what I wanted to share with you before I dive into the code. Now let us look at the Pydantic model first. I will be sharing the YouTube_crew.py. This py file will be shared with you in the description below. And now in line number 35 to 38, you see these 3 lines. So these 3 lines contains the Pydantic model. So how this Pydantic model is defined. So first thing is, it is a class. So in Python there is something called as a class. You need to give it a class name. So it starts with capital letters, and it can have camel cases. So there can be capital letters in the middle, and it has to use this base model. So this base model comes from Pydantic. So it is imported from Pydantic. Okay. Most of these things can be written directly by agentic IDEs like Windsurf. You actually don't need to write the code also. The reason why I'm sharing all these things is so that you can understand and use these, read the code and understand what's happening. Okay, you have to only do that. You have to read the code and understand, and for understanding it, you have to practice how the code is working. This is the scenario that is going on right now. Even though the AI models, the agents, the tasks are doing all the work for you, you have to still read the code. And you have to prefer using the IDEs, prefer using the knowledge that you have rather than going to the browser and trying to search. You have to use the IDEs, you have to use the agents, the flows in the agents inside the IDEs like Cursor IDE, Windsurf IDE to manage stuff, so that you are not distracted by the various advertisements and various kinds of new information that comes when you go to the browser. So that is one of the things that I always ensure that I am laser focused. Now, the base model is imported from Pydantic, and we have the links, titles, and channels. So I am planning to have a list of links, and the links are of type text. Okay. In case of Python, the lists are, you have to give a clear representation or a clear type for the things that you're asking. So in case of Pydantic model, I need to say I want the links to be a list of text. So that is what I have told you, list of text. So the str in Python is text. Str is string. Same way, I want titles also to be list of strings and the channels also to be list of strings. Right, strings and texts can be used interchangeably. The output is by default assigned to be an empty list. This is also important when you are going to work. Sometimes what happens is the output may not come. There may not be any output from the model as well as from the internet. So at that time, the code will error out, telling that there is no any links or titles or channels. So in order to avoid that, we need to give a default value. So this is how the Pydantic model works. That is all you need to know. Okay, there are various other nitty-gritty details in Pydantic model. If you are from coding background, yeah, take a look at that in other videos. If you are not from coding background, this is all you need to know. That's it. And again, read the code, read the examples from various other examples that is present again in the examples inside CrewAI.com. So if you go to examples in CrewAI.com, you will have a lot of various templates or and various agents and tasks that is already coded by the CrewAI team. So if you can go there, if you can look at the tasks or the agents, you will see how the things are being done, right? So that is the first part, right? Now let us think about the task at hand. The task at hand is, let us go to the bottom. The task at hand is how to use AI agents. So if you look at the line number 51 here, so I want to research how to use AI agents, and I want to use the CrewAI to do the analysis for me. So I'm going to assign a task for the CrewAI crew. So YT_task. So what is this task? So this task description here, it is telling your work is to search the YouTube videos on topic. So this topic you see here, this topic is the same topic that you see on line number 51. So this topic. If you don't provide this topic in line number 51, then it will error out. Okay, because the CrewAI has been coded in that way. That's all you need to know. Second is the expected output. So if you remember, in the presentation I told that you need to look at the expected output, correct? So this is where the expected output is. In the expected output, I'm telling I need a list of YouTube video links, the video titles, and its channel name on the topic. You see, I am specific on the outputs that I want, that I am also mentioning it in the Pydantic model here, links, titles, and channels. You see, this expected output and this Pydantic model has to match. If it doesn't match, then there can be challenges. Yes, it will still work, but it will not work as you expect. Be very specific on these terms. Now, AI is about using natural language, using English, but you have to be specific in English. You cannot talk gibberish to the AI model. It will not work. You have to be specific. Third is the agent that has been provided on line number 45. The agent I will introduce in a couple of minutes, which is actually a very silly thing. In fact, you can do everything in the description inside the task itself, but the point of taking a big prompt and breaking it into multiple parts is what CrewAI has done. So they have done a good job. So I should actually appreciate them for that. But I have been proposing that everything should be simple. So and you need to know exactly what are the purpose of each and every part that is coming into the coding area. So agents are serving a purpose. They help you to break the prompts. They help you to make your understanding of these agents and tasks much more clearer. And at the same time, it can actually become little overwhelming because there are lots of moving parts, right? So that's the reason why I was little confused that why have these many parts. So well, as of now, that is how it works. So that is a separate agent. I will dive into that. Finally, there is the output JSON, the YT videos. This is where we are telling the task that I need an output JSON. That output JSON should contain the list of links, the list of titles, and list of channels. This is the point I wanted you to understand. Okay, so if I go back here, you see I have introduced the Pydantic model. I have spoken about the expected output, and next comes the model used in the agent and review whether the tools are being used, correct? So, but before understanding and reviewing those things, we need to understand a couple of more things. So the agents, when it comes to the agent, you give the role, goal, and the backstory. As you can see here, I have not mentioned anything about the tools or anything about the topic. So this is primarily telling the LLM that the prompt that I'm going to push is going to ask you to search for the YouTube videos, and it is going to ask you for 5 YouTube video links, and I'm going to ask for the details of the YouTube video links, and it is telling, like a system prompt, that you are an expert in searching the internet for YouTube videos and organizing it in a list. But what I've done is I've just added the tools here. That's it. I've not mentioned anything about the tools. So you might be wondering, okay, why we have to give the tools here? Can we give it in the tasks? Yes, you can do that. You can give the tools in the agents, or you can give the tools in the task. There is no any issue. But it is usually linked with the agent. So you always give the tools with the agent, and then the tasks refer to the agent. That's how it works. Fine. Next, you don't need to know how these tools are to be used. All you need to know is that in order to make the agent to use the tool, you have to use this kind of a syntax. So you have to say scrape website tool equal to scrape website tool and with a open and close bracket. This means it creates an instance of website tool. Same way Serper dev tool. So Serper is a searching tool and scrape website tool is a tool that reads the content of a particular website. Fine. Then comes the LLM. The LLM is the model that is going to do the actual work for you. So it is going to create a execution for getting the links. Second, it is going to go into the links and read the contents of the links. All these things are going to be done by these LLMs. So here I'm starting with the Groq Llama 8192 context model. That is what I'm beginning with, and I can go to the LLM, go to the agent, and then line number 30, you can see that the LLM uses Groq LLM. Okay, and let us execute and see what happens. Okay, so the output that you are seeing here has been created using GPT-4 and 4o mini, not using the open source LLM. I am showing this because for you to debug how the things happen, right? Let us begin. I'm starting the crew by using Python ytube_crew.py. Let it run. In the meantime, I will also discuss one more important aspect, that I am using the most simplest way of creating the crews. I am not using the YAML files. The reason is it is much more easier for us to debug. You can see everything happening in front of you, and you can easily debug it, and you can see why something is not working, right? And you can see immediately that the things are failing here because some or the other tool is not working properly. Okay, and it is actually trying to give the final answer, but it is not able to use the tools. So that's what it is saying here. Let us scroll up, and it is trying to extract the data from the internet, and it is trying to read the website content. So these things has been already coded into it, and this is the tool that it has got. So all of these things are available to the LLM. So it is very clear. Okay, and also the thing is the searching has already happened. So the searching of the internet was done through the Serper API, and it has got some updates. But the point was, the updates that it got was not YouTube videos. You can see that here, correct? There were a couple of YouTube videos. So you can see there is one YouTube video here, another one is there, but these were lost to the LLM. So it was not able to match it because of how the LLM is working. I'm using open source LLM, correct? And that LLMs are not always perfect. There are some LLMs that are really good, and there are some LLMs which needs a lot of improvement, but this is a complex task, right? So what I'm going to do is, now I know that, so let us go back. So I know that the tools are being used. I know that it is trying to get the expected output. So it is trying to constrain with the model. So I know all of these things. So the only thing that I can change right now is the model. So you see what has happened. So now I go back, I can do two things. I can simply go and I can remove this LLM. I can comment this out, and by default the agents will start using GPT-4 model. So if you go to the CrewAI, examples, just a minute, getting started, and if you go to the agents, and if you scroll down, if you go to the LLM, yeah, 1 second, yeah, LLM is here, and if you look at it here, the model by default is GPT-4, which is actually a costly model. So yeah, but it still works. It's a good model actually. So I'm going to use this model and show you what happens. The idea here is that all the LLMs have started reducing the costs of their inferences, so you don't need to really worry about the cost. Now you need to really think about how to make the machine work. So that is one of my taglines, that you need to make the machines work, and AI, the LLM models, the agents, the tasks are going to make your life really, really easy. Well, let us now, I have removed this, so you see that I am not using Groq LLM anymore, and I am going to see whether it is able to give me the answer. So let us run this code again, and let us see whether it is able to get the necessary links, the titles, and the channels of the YouTube videos that I'm asking for. By this experiment, you must have already got a clarity on what exactly goes into the agent, into the task, and how the tools are getting called. The searching is happening right now. You can see that in front of you, and the tool output, the search results, will be updated in a moment. So give it a second, and you see that it is specifically searching for youtube.com using this particular search query. Correct. And also you can the search results is out, and then it is going to the next tool. So if you look at it, it is looking for the various tools, and now it has gone, and it is also getting all these kinds of various URLs that is not linked with YouTube, but still it keeps on searching. Okay, the model, GPT-4 model, it has multiple retries that it can go through, and it gets a lot of information from the Serper API, and then it gets this list. Okay, so that is a timeout. So this is something that can happen because sometimes when you are working with the models, right, the models can do multiple calls to the endpoints. So this kind of an error can happen, but these kinds of timeouts are not linked with the agents. It is linked with the actual inference endpoints. You can try it again, it will work, right? So here you see that I have got the necessary details. So I have got the 5 titles here, correct? And the final step. So this is where the interesting point is. What if you don't want the channel name? So what if I want only the video title and the link? Very simple. So you come back here, you remove this channels from the Pydantic model. You come to the expected output, you remove this channel name. You need to do both of these things. If you do any one, then what will happen is still there will be a kind of a mismatch that is happening, and you will still get the output of the channels, right? As you already saw, the task is much more detail oriented, while the agent is more like a top level guide to the task. So once you use this kind of a modification, and I believe that the output should match and give me only the links and titles, and the channel should not come. Probably the description might actually join. So let us see how this works. Whenever you are working on these kinds of experiments, it takes a lot of time in the beginning. Even to me, when I was starting to experiment with CrewAI, it was challenging. It was very unintuitive. But the more I spent time with it, the more I experimented with different models, because the open source models, the Groq inference endpoint is very good. You can do a lot of inferences. You will end up with lots of errors, no doubt. But the more you try it, the better you will get at it. So that's how, as I always say, it's about practice, right? You have to try these things. You have to take some new tasks and try to work with these things. In fact, there are very interesting things that you can do with. Okay, so here you can see that the model is also trying to hallucinate also. There are a couple of places it's trying to hallucinate. So these things also can happen. So when you are trying to work with the model, now you see the channels are missing. You see the channels are not there. Earlier the channels were there, now I removed the channels, and the model is giving me only the title and the link. And also you will notice, Kamal, we asked for YouTube video channels, but it is giving me something else, right? So the answers are not correct. As you already realized, the models are not always perfect, right? You have to work with the models, you have to understand the challenges that is coming through, but it is going to help you to reduce the time a lot. Instead of 5 links that I showed here, you can actually work with bigger links. You can work with more number of links, and you can try it out. So I believe that in this discussion you had a very detailed understanding of how to get the output that you want from CrewAI agents and tasks, and you also went through the do's and don'ts. You saw how to start with the agents, the tools, how to understand the tasks, the Pydantic model especially, and went ahead and got to know about the expected output and how the expected output is linked with the Pydantic model. All of these things we delved into this video. I believe that this video is a good starting point for you to really dive into creating agents and tasks and starting to make CrewAI crews. With that said, I would like to leave this video with 4 words: practice, practice, practice.